Hello, water signs, and welcome to January 2021. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining me for these few minutes. We're going to jump right in, and we're going to do the standard issue binary star tarot yin yang balanced energies layout. Here's an example of it. So you can see we've got the yin line, we've got the yang line as individuals. Then we have a blended energy line as a third line. That is a compilation of all the energies and the way they smoosh around and interact, interchange, etc., etc. So let's jump right in. I'll check back in with you after the tarot reading for a recap. So here we are, and here we go. Yin line first. And so, why don't we... I'm going to place these right here. And I'm going to pull one of these. The Inquiry Deck. The Inquiry Deck. I want to get a question. I want to see what kind of questions are out there floating around in the collective for water signs for January 2021. I must have really hated last year. It's been so easy to remember to write 2021 on my checks and say 2021. You know, there's been no glitches like making a mistake when you're close to the changeover of the years. And let's go right here. And we'll say, what moves me? What moves me? There's a good question, which we'll hold on to as we go through this reading. Talk about a wide open territory. What moves me? And yin, let's begin. Yin, let's begin. And let's begin with death. And let's begin with the King of Wands. And let's begin with Seven of Cups. Well, the King is looking right over at the Seven of Cups, and he's got his intentions all set and ready to go. In terms of the yin people in this audience, so is there a fire sign in your life right now that is not a small player? Somebody you've had your eye on? Well, he's interested. But you know, with the Seven of Cups being here, I could see that there's a bit of question mark on his part, looking at you because maybe you're a bit of a moving target for him. In your essence, the way he's reading it, the non-verbal, non-physical way that he's reading it, he's very much interested in who you are and what you are. But it's almost like you're showing him too many faces, too many of your multiple selves. And that's okay, except if it gets in the way, ultimately. Because he's got the passion to come to join with you in a way that is at least close to, if not right on the money, of unconditional love. Kings don't do things on a lower level. Kings go big. So unconditional is big. Why not? Is that what you want? Is there any fear that's causing you to not want to crystallize, show him who you really are? Who you really are is probably right here in the center. And talk about a positive aspect. This who you are can be the quintessential essence, the crystallization of all the supporting players in the play of your life. Note that it's on the center line. Note that there's balance in the earth and the divine realms as it relates to you here. So I guess the only thing that's coming to me is to not sell yourself short. If there's anything that's causing you to not gel a little bit for this person, then it might be worth considering understanding what's keeping you from it. Get to the center line and then get to the center. That part of you that straddles, notice that this straddles the heaven and earth line, the center line here. There's balance here. But note that this is the part of you that straddles both worlds. That's what's going to move him. And it'll move you too. Now, I purposely held off on death here because this is your line, Yin. And your line contains a reality sandwich within it. That it is your task to eat that reality sandwich for lunch someday. Because it's very easy to relate that whatever ghost is in a closet that wants to be offered to the Grim Reaper and wants to go away, be left behind, is exactly what's getting in the way over here. So transcend it. I mean, there's never, in my opinion, I've never done a tarot reading that seemed frivolous. Period. Across the board, the end. Right? Well, here's the period, the end player. And sometimes we need this nameless card. I mean, they didn't even name it in the time of the Marseilles Tarot origination. All the other major arcana had names. This one's out there in that realm of the interplay between your spirit and the divine realm, where some really significant choices are made and some really significant work is done. Because this is the place where you interface with mortality on all levels, on the idea that nothing is forever. So let's leave it at that. This it's good stuff, and it has a lot of love in there for you, should you choose to accept the challenge that's there. Young, let's talk to you for a sec. And see, are you out there by yourself? Are you involved? Are you playing rogue elephant? Let's check it out. Yang begins with 7 of Wands. The sevens reign supreme. So far. Wow. Is that what you are? Is that what you, Yin, are to him? The Queen of Cups? He's not only got some kingly stuff going, he's a magician. Or aspiring to be a magician. And he believes that you are on the critical path to him realizing his potential as a magician. So, Young, let's deal with you just by yourself for a minute. I mean, the extended, I'm going to deal with the interplay of these energies. But for now, let's just consider them as independent entities. So you're reading, Young. I guess it looks to me like the fire sign aspect of you come on with a lot of fire. I mean, a lot of energy. You're ambitious, an adaptive, ambitious character. And there's a certain amount of belief in yourself that supports that and floats your boat, so to speak. Interesting to note that that same level of confidence is in the yin line, but it's not about fire. It's about water. And it's about love. And this is the water sign reading. So this is a factor that wants to have priority. This can put, it's interesting, water can put fire out, right? Fire can turn water into steam. Are either of those productive? That's for you to discover. But there are so many permutations in between. Like if you channel the combination of water and fire, what do you get? You get steam, which can be used as a source of energy to drive a vehicle, to power something. And she appears to be, in a sense, the woman of his dreams. But she's what moves her? What moves her is your fire. So you're given a priority to water, but don't sacrifice your fire for the water. It's a matter of finding a way to balance those energies so that neither one has to become a lesser being or a lesser quality of their being in order to function together. And this guy right here, this may want to be talked about by the team, if there is a team. Yang, if you're on your own and you're just looking for the woman of your dreams, then of course, this is a major factor. But I suggest that in the scheme of things, in the long run, in the overall concept of all that is, it's probably not a good idea to develop this part of yourself through her. It's better to develop this part of yourself through you. Then when you come to her or when you join with her, you're already whole. You're a whole being on your own dime. You didn't need to rely or depend upon anyone else to form the magnificent magician that you are. And let your fire drive it. Because even if this yin is not your yin, she's going to be interested. The yin in your life is going to be interested, and what's going to move her is your fire. Okay. Let's see what the blended energies have to say. We got 22 angel cards for the 22 major arcana. And we're going to pick 4 numbers. And here they are. 9 is the first one. 1. Let's keep the angels right side up. What do you think? Okay. I was after this one right here. Good. 14. And last but not least, so this is a blended energies line, 21. Okay. We have some major arcana here and only major arcana from the Borderless Rider-Waite deck. And we go 1, and we go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wowee, you guys. Water signs. Yup, your world. Okay. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oops. Well, that's okay. And 22 and 21. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, that sent shivers down my spine. Because it's kind of like this. It's kind of like this sewing everything up into a final, the final act of this play that is your lives. And it comes out as good as it gets. Okay, so remember, we've been talking about balance. So let's right now go to the potential outcome. Okay? Because that's the card of perfect balance. And I want to highlight the fact that we've talked about balance. We talked about the balancing of the Seven of Cups with the Seven of Wands, and how the idea was to balance it in a way that doesn't deplete or enhance. Well, I mean, it'll enhance both of you if it enhances one of you. But the idea is the enhancement and the condition of not having anything taken away or detracted from you by trying for this balance. In other words, it's got to be a natural balance. The natural balance is going to want to balance out. An unnatural balance is going to feel like it's being forced. It's going to feel like you're either asking somebody to become lesser than who they are in order to accommodate the balance, or you're becoming lesser than you are to accommodate the balance. It's not workable in the long run, right? Those kinds of things, the artificial things, cannot last. So this potential outcome, that's a good goalpost to keep your eye on. That's where you want to go. Good. So that's kind of the overall, and I'm so glad to see that, because it's an overall type of card. It just like covers everything with a glow. And then let's go over here. So the situation is the not the Empress card, but the High Priestess, the queen of the spiritual hierarchy, a water sign, right? Her world is water. Water flows from here to there, and it has a tendency to carry messages with it. Even if it's like in a stream, the messages can be as something simple as dead leaves that roll down the bottom in the direction of the flow, the current, and they are carried downstream. Maybe to provide some nutrition for some plant that doesn't even know that it's coming. However, with this individual here, the situation is an invitation. The situation is an invitation to you. And because, I mean, what just came to me very strongly, is that you got to both want to do it. For it's going to maximize under the condition. It's a simple condition, but it might be the hardest if you got players that are not into it. It can turn into nothing but difficulty and obstacles. However, here's just the heads up. You got to both want to go and visit the High Priestess. Your challenge, the challenge of this up here, being the Sun card, which is the ultimate benevolence and shining upon us, and being our challenge, is a matter of acknowledgement. So the situation is the invitation. Here, old soul, SOL, is requiring an acknowledgement. In other words, it's not a separate, these cards, it's not like separate over here, High Priestess, separate over here, the Sun, separate over here. This is cohesive. It's homogeneous. It's mixed. It's evenly mixed. And when it is, that means that it's okay for the Sun to speak to this situation and to say in this situation that what is gained here is you have to acknowledge it, what's gained. because that shines the light. Then any kind of adversity from this card goes away. You open the gates, and behind the gates are the rays of the sun. But in order to get those gates to open, you have to acknowledge what the High Priestess has to offer. And so it's an oddball one because your strength in this particular case, your asset, is the Tower. How does that relate to here? Well, try it on. This is profound. We were talking about this being profound. It's down at your core, yin. It's down at the fundamental. And you know that relationships, when there's ripples in one part in the yin, the yang feels the effect, right? So what is being said here by it being the strength to my feelings is that somehow you guys are not wet behind the ears. I mean, you could be younger people, but it doesn't seem like you are to me. Seems like this is more for a couple that's been around the block. Why do I say that? I mean, I'm not going to deny the fact that it's possible that anybody at any age can be enlightened and can be far beyond their years and their abilities to perceive. And so let's just call that what it is. It's going to be for those who are able to perceive it, but to perceive how the hell the Tower, you might ask yourself, can be a strength. Not because it bashed you down into the earth and onto the ground, but why? And that's the question that you have to ask. And I'm getting the strong sense that it's not a matter of asking that question and trying for me to give you answers, but rather just to talk about the fact of what it represents. And what it represents is transition. Transition. So you reach into yourselves, because this is your strength, remember, your asset. Reach into that part of you that knows this because you've been there, that knows this world of what it felt like and what it feels like, and what you think at the beginning of the Tower moment, what you think 2 years later. And reach there and go to the mirror and look at yourself and say, I know what this is. I know what to do. It's not like foreign territory. Big. We already talked about this. So actually with this Tower, one final thing to bring into view here is that the next card, once you transition through number 16 in the major arcana, you head for the Star card. And the Star card is quite a bit different look than this card, right? And then, but that's still not your final resting place. This is. So it's a matter of going for the gold, and I'm going to check back in with you and do a recap. Remember this. Well, if I were to take that question and apply it overall to this reading that we just did, I would say that it's a matter of tapping into your gut. It's a matter of, your gut response, your primal, maybe second chakra type of response. That area of creativity on the earth. Because you're going to want to bring some of this stuff down to earth that we talked about in order to see the value. And it's going to be a silent profound matter of perception. At that point, though, you get to that gut feeling, that gut sensation of all the wonderment that's ahead of you. And that will move you. That you won't have to ask what moves me. That will move you. It'll be like the carrot. You want a carrot, right? It's easier to follow the carrot than to respond to the stick. So that'll be your carrot. That's all I got to say about that. Yin is looking at the yang in her life and is interested in the yang's interest, if you will. So there's a circuit there. Yin has got the act together. These two players, the yin and the yang, they're pretty well matched. It's not like one is going to have to be dragged along by the other one. They're both major players, if you will. So I guess it's the ideas are the nuances. And so in each line, there's a bit of a, let's say, a vulnerable point, a weak point. The chain is always as strong as its weakest link, right? So let's talk about just the weak links for a minute. In the yin line, it's the death card. So there's something there that wants some attention. Dig deep, understand what it is, know that it's getting in the way of the fortification and evolution that you have in the world of water, in the world of love, in the world of emotions. And perhaps it's keeping you from yourself. There's a bit of the quality that it's keeping you from who you are. So that doesn't make sense, right? But so that's why you probably don't want to do it. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. You make the choices. But I'm seeing the death card as the weakest link. In the yang line, it's the magician. Go figure, right? The magician is normally looked at as such a positive card. And yet, if there's too much reliance upon anything, let's say you're given a gift on anything that's going to off balance you or send you tumbling off the path, your path, then it becomes a liability and not an asset. So in this case, it's looking to me like the magician is there because it's in you. So it's in you. And that is totally positive by itself. No influences anywhere except it's in you, right? But how is it in you? How are you playing it? How are you coming into the legacy of your own ability to be the magician? Are you doing it through reliance upon others? Are you doing it by using others as a stepstone, by a dependency on of some sort that will, sure, it'll get you to be a magician, but what kind of magician? And will it be holistic and will it be spiritually sound? I'll leave it up to you to determine what that is for you. But there you got a lot to work with. And I mean, Yin is interested in the King of Wands, and Yang is interested in the Queen of Cups. There's a symmetry to that. And the Seven of Cups and the followed, kind of, if you go on a circuitous path along these two lines, The Seven of Cups is followed by the Seven of Wands. So you got two levels of high evolution in each of you, high strength and wherewithal to bring your game. So bring your game. You're balanced in that way. Keep it balanced. That's kind of the message. And then we'll go with the last but not least kind of thing is to say that the process of the visit that wants to be brokered between you guys, you team, and the high priestess is kind of that's the heading of your ship. Your heading is being determined by that visit to the high priestess, because from that visit is going to come the directions about where it is best to go. And then on the interior of here, with the challenge and the asset, it's merely a management decisions that need to be made. Managing energy, managing the acknowledgement of that the Sun card is in your corner, managing the energy of the fact that the Tower is in your corner, and then shooting for having your eye on the prize of the World card, the card of perfect balance. So, perfect balance for you water signs. That's the mantra for January 2021. And I'm going to head for the extended, but for those of you that don't join me there, thanks for being here. And I haven't had a chance to wish you a Happy New Year. Happy New Year. And love you all. And see you next time.